Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. But if you're here for him, I suppose that means you aren't here for Saltuna. Now, there's no need to humor me. I'm used to this particular letdown.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional erotic and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious. Yes, freedom is a tempting ideal, but a rather costly paramour.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
Mr. Vicar, I don't want to be rude, but I don't think that means anything.
Yes, it's as though the good vicar has plucked the very words from my brain.
Indeed. Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Returning to the board is your only chance if you hope to survive here on Monarch. That doesn't mean it'll be easily achievable.
Indeed not. No worthwhile plan was ever simple. That's what I always say.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
And a Mantisaur problem, and a Marauder problem.
Many, many problems, but they can all be solved with a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance. An ordinance, of course. We do things in a civilized fashion here, not like Graham's iconoclasts.
Of course he wants to fight bureaucracy with paperwork. I should have known.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you just crawled out from under a rock. Forms and procedures are everything in Halcyon. And this one is located in the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. And these days, it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. What can I do for you? But that's terrible. What happened? I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town. I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them eventually. Of course I would have. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services. I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. MSI's leadership at the time certainly thought so.
And how did that work out?
Most regard Monarch as a lost cause. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right because it's the right thing to do.
Ms. Holcomb is our endlessly optimistic crew hand. It's good for the captain's morale.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't think I realized how far they'd stoop. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Without the board, chaos would overtake the system. Working within the established order isn't a principle to snub one's nose at, Captain.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
A necessary evil for the greater good of society.
That's exactly how the board describes it. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
I will admit, I am keen to meet their leader.
Well, be careful what you wish for. Graham has a habit of ruining everything, and everyone around him. I'm trying to build something here. They only want to destroy things, and they risk ruining Monarch for all of us. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels, and pushes us further from the rest of the colony. He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
What can I do for you?
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or a mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. Would you? I'd appreciate that so much. Maybe don't tell him I wanted you to ask, just that you met this really nice lady named Celia, and she seemed... Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like salt tuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away. Have you talked to... You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grim wore her patience thin a long time ago. Oh, have you talked to him?
Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something.
Mr. Pickett? Franklin Pickett from Edgewater?
That's him. He'd been here years, but he always talked about going back to Edgewater one day. Nice of you to say. I like her too. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm?
Oh, no, that's not it at all. She's smitten with you. You smited her. Smote? Smoot?
Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice.
Give her a chance. Give yourself a chance. Take her someplace nice.
Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
That's the spirit, Sebastian. Be yourself. Between you and me, Captain, I'm not sure Miss Celia knows him too well. But we can hope, right? I want them to be happy.
You look like a man. He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Mantiqueens, especially. Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Who wouldn't be? Now that just sounds like a fancy way to say boring people. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett, but I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him.
Captain, can we look for him? I'd feel awful if somebody from home was in trouble and we didn't do nothing.
Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal? All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruins. Last Mantiqueen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there too.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back-to-work look. Anyhow, thank you.
report. Yoka is drunk.
You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? He'll probably be wanting it back. You see any sign of him? Funny place to leave a journal. But what about Mr. Pickett? That's pretty sad. He sure seemed like he knew what he was doing.
He used to tell the kids crazy stories about halcyon wildlife. Later I learned most of it was wrong, but it was the thought that counted. Then one day he just disappeared. Never heard anything about him again.
So this journal is all he left behind? Seems like I ought to read it. Looks mighty long, though. I bet she'll like that. She's real enthusiastic about all sorts of monsters.
It'd be nice for there to be some good come out of this.
In any case, I appreciate you tracking down Mr. Pickett for me. Here's some bits for your trouble. Like what?
Their death, our survival.
wonder what secrets these ruins contain.
I wonder who used to live here. Do you suppose anyone remembers anymore?
Here they come! We're just in time! He does it. Try me?
Everyone all right?
Rest with us!
Incoming! Everyone all right?
Wait, can rats wear boots? Oh, thank the Eternal. I'm Huxley. Hux if you're lazy. I'm stuck. My friends and I were scavenging here, and a Meta Queen showed up. Then Raptidons. It was a void-blasted mess. I ran in here, and, now the door's locked. Little help? It's easier than it sounds, all right? Next time you get chased by Raptidons, you let me know the rationality of your decisions. Phew. Thanks, mister. My buddy had a key, but I ain't heard him in a while. He locked me in here and took off. Probably got munched. So look for a dead guy, I guess. Or a rat. Maybe it's in a rat belly. Gross. Sure. Beats not answering questions. Huxley! I'm an Iconoclast runner. The Iconoclast runner. Fastest we've got. Ain't a Raptidon on this void-forsaken hellhole that can catch me. I'm sorry. Put me in a tiny room like this and I'm liable to flip. Not keen on tight spaces, you know? Oh, that'd be my people. Graham and Zora and Milton and... I really miss them. You gonna let me out of here? I want to get back to Amber Heights. My buddy locked me in here. I told you that. It was for my safekeeping, on account of Raptidons wanting to munch on my head. But, I mean, okay, yes, fine. I get myself into sticky situations. It's just part of life, all right? Sometimes you gotta hide in a trash can so you don't get eaten by monsters. Oh, neither was I. Who'd hide in a trash can? Gross. Probably. I don't know. When I try to read things, my mind gets to wandering about all the things I could be doing instead. Get me out of here! What do you mean? It's locked. Wait, upward? Oh, my eternal soul, it worked!
Ah, phew. Thank you so much. It was getting all stuffy in there, and I was getting a mite lightheaded, and I think maybe I was gonna die. Now I'm out here, and I'm headed back to Amber Heights. Oh, sure, I'm a runner. I'm used to getting all dizzy, and hey, who's your identical, slightly blurry friend? But I ain't got nothing on me. How's about a heaping helping of appreciation and respect? That's true. Okay, fine. Here. Thanks a lot, mister.
You should know you're getting excellent reviews from across the company. What can I do for you? You weren't supposed to look. I asked you to delete it. Oh, yes. No doubt someone else was having a laugh at my expense before you. This has been my albatross. The great shame of my career. I give MSI everything. My work, my youth, my left kidney, and for years, I was a joke to them. One of the executives required a transplant. I thought volunteering to donate might improve my prospects. Apparently not. In charge of a scrap heap of a city, abandoned by the board and surviving only through the hypocrisy of our trading partners. I hadn't thought of it that way. But perhaps there's something to that. Thank you for that. Was there something else? Oh, yes. I'm going to be up all night with this. All those blanks waiting to be filled, boxes waiting to be ticked.
Try to control yourself, sir.
Have you any idea how powerful this is? Corporations have been toppled with less. What a question! Bureaucratic micromanagement is the only way anything gets done in Halcyon, and proper documentation is a key part of that. For our part, a bill of liquidation/transfer Form 52 will protect our holdings on Monarch by temporarily assigning them to a pass-through entity once we drop our bomb on the board. Sort of. Really, we're just going to blackmail them into offering us a seat at the table.
But really, whatever gets you excited about the idea. It's definitely a firm middle finger.
That's what I like to hear. I have reason to believe that one of the other corporations is operating on Monarch, illegally and in secret.
Mr. Nandi may be correct. If the masses learn that the board disregards their own ordinances, it'd give rise to dissent. MSI could use this information to their advantage.
If we can find proof, I can use that as leverage to encourage certain powers that be to accept our Bolt 52 and reinstate us on the board. You really think so? I admit I've been hatching this scheme for quite some time. I just needed someone capable to help me carry it out. If someone is operating here, then Catherine's almost certainly supplying them out of Fallbrook. Perhaps she could be convinced to tell you where they are. Oh, I imagine you do. But as much as I love your can-do attitude and dangerous gravitas, Catherine handles all of our shipments. So it would be best if you could leave her in one piece. Is that how you people put it? Once you, subtly work out where this corporate facility might be, bring back proof of its operation. Maybe some nice letterhead. Or someone working there. That would do it. A foolproof plan if I ever heard one. I'll leave the execution to you.
Remember.
You seen Arthur today?
Last time I saw
Uh-huh. You blind, fella? Or can you not see I'm busy? Why is it every sissy pig fucker who strolls into my town expects me to smile and shout awful friendly? Welcome to Fallbrook. Only nugget of paradise in this entire law-forsaken land. Like a void damn advert.
Oh, she just comes and says whatever's on her mind, huh?
Truthfully spoken, I do aim to properly represent my aforementioned nugget of paradise. You know, I ain't heard that one before. Suppose I'll have to work harder to show you just what makes our town shine. But first, I'll need to know what brings you, stranger. Well, I'm half listening. If it's one that don't mind getting dirty, then I sure do. But how am I to know whether you're reliable, if not fully trustworthy? Against my better judgment, I do believe you. There's a Borst factory on up the way, run by a man who calls himself the King. Clive Lundberg, insufferable prick. That aside, it's a business ripe for the plucking. I want it. Clear as that. Stars, I hope so. Clive Lundberg, the self-proclaimed Borst King of Monarch, is swimming in profit and drowning in his ego. He's making the only meal to be had this side of Monarch, and I'm tired of ponying up for my dinner. I want that Borst factory, owner dead or alive. And you're the soon-to-be handsomely paid son of a bitch who's gonna get it for me. Kill him, run him out. I don't rightly care for the details, so long as Clive knows resistance to me is costly and futile. Hit him where it hurts, in his gut, or his production lines ought to make do. If you got brass knockers, you could shoot your way through the front gate. If you don't fancy getting shot to shit, you can try asking Duncan for a disguise. Might be another way in, assuming you're courageous enough to trek the sewers. Void if I know. Then I'd say you might care to poison the cysty pigs, doctor a few financial records, or throw a wrench in the canning machinery. It'll be more than good when you're finished. Maybe not for Clive, but for me and you, I'm sure. Oh, and if you don't fancy going in guns blazing or crawling through a sewer pipe, see Duncan in the dry goods and sundry building. He ought to have an employee ID in that stash of illicit goods he keeps for select clientele. May luck be with you, since I won't be. How's... Sure. Might be I know something about it. Might be someone hired my crew to blind drop supplies on the northern bridge. Might be they sure as shit weren't pirates. Now that I consider it, I ain't heard from my delivery team in far too long. Find them for me, and I'll pay you handsomely. And I'll thank you kindly for it. Good of you to finally haul your ass over here. I wired for backup weeks ago. Got something that's gonna require special extraction from Cascadia. All right. One of my runners uncovered a cache of Alta Vitae gas, left in a lab when the board abandoned Cascadia. To extract the gas, you'll need to siphon it from the lab in Cascadia into one of your ship's fuel tanks. Totally safe. Do I look like one of them egghead science types? All I know is that labs use it to create plants and livestock out of local species. But it's a controlled commodity, available only to the board, so it is of high value on the dark market. I do like your gumption, but let's not be hasty. To get to the gas, you'll need to navigate through the town, which is overrun by marauders. The lab itself has become an infested nest, crawling with mantis. You gotta fight through or figure out some other way to exterminate them. Maybe the ventilation system? A sound selection. Nyoka's sturdy, reliable, and don't mind wading knee-deep into guts. Now, after you clear the manti nest and reach the storage room, all that's left is to get the gas flowing into the fuel system. The task will require someone with technical skills, or you could force it through with a plasma overload. Don't recommend that option though, unless you want to get dead.
Load vapors into a liquid propellant tank? I think I know how to do that. No, I can do that. I think. Yes. Mostly? Definitely.
Dandy. Did I mention the gas is of an extremely volatile nature? Handle it with the utmost of care. Once you've got our goods, take them to the groundbreaker. Lilia's fencers ought to handle the rest of it. I've marked the coordinates for you to the lab in Cascadia. Use the passcode Antediluvian on the terminal to get in. Best of luck, Fixer.
I don't think I'm... Like Miss Catherine. Not just on account of the swearing, though she swears awful much.
Efficient, clever, ruthless. I like her.
for the...
Hello there. A word, if I may be so bold? Well now, here I thought those mantisaurs had peacefully exited the premises. But you're a simpler explanation. Thanks for the assistance. Name's Weston. Every once in a while I set up shop along these here roads. You find yourself in need of resupply, you come on by. Care to purchase a thing or two?
What happened here?
Keep your guard up. Whoever got to them may still be nearby.
Stay back. I may be wounded, but I'm still armed. How'd you get past my traps anyway? Just remember, I still got bullets, in case you get any funny ideas. What are you doing out here anyway? Cave like this makes a handy place to store goods or hide out for a spell. And the traps usually keep gawkers out. Catherine had us making drops for some big shot client out here. And before you ask, I don't know who they are. Or were. The whole point of making drops in the middle of nowhere was to keep their identity and whereabouts a secret. The Marauders knew we were coming. Rigged the bridge with explosives and everything. If they found us, my guess is they found the client too. Last I saw, they were heading back up the hill. You'll see it on the right when you get out of here. If you got the sand to go after him, I'm sure Catherine can reward you for your trouble. Me? I'm headed back to Fallbrook, just as soon as I've caught my breath.
You're an artist, Captain.
Please, you don't have to do this. Just let us look. There. I didn't mean what I said. It's very factual.
Maybe they're still alive.
Your skills are unrivaled.
Huh?
Deft hands, Cap.
You hiding?
Here they come!
Everyone all right?
Huh?
Captain, look out!
One down.
Everyone all right?
Thank you again for retrieving the bolt. It's every bit as complex as I'd heard, but I'm up to the challenge. Anyway, what can I do for you? Excellent timing on your part. I worked my fingers to nubs, but I've finally completed the Bolt 52 form. I dare say it will be my second greatest achievement after the Reformations.
You're getting ahead of yourself again.
So I am. Do you have this cartridge? That's just cruel and inefficient. I'm working on a plan to reorganize the board. Slowly, peacefully, and with meticulous documentation.
What's gonna happen to the people here when the board figures out what you're doing?
Well, by that point, my hope is that we'll be on the board once more.
Maybe I'm worrying too much, but it seems the folks here get plans made for them an awful lot. When do they get to start making plans for themselves?
Once MSI is restored, the people of Monarch will be able to make more choices. We'll have all the brands and resources of the board here. But truly, I am getting ahead of myself. First, I need to submit the Bolt 52, with that data you're holding, of course. I knew there was something going on. This is exactly the proof we need. The board will have to welcome us back now. I'll transmit this data along with the completed Bolt 52 right away. After that, we'll sit back and quietly wait for the board to respond.
That means no more broadcasts from us.
I'd give you a friendlier welcome, but I'm up to my elbows in salt tuna guts.
Gosh, this old girl's in a rough way. Even old Bess in Edgewater was in better shape than this.
Hey, you want to try running a cannery with obsolete machinery? You be my guest.
Sorry, ma'am, I wasn't trying to be rude. It's just, your flanging apparatus isn't making a strong flange, so your sealer isn't sealing right, and...
Oh, I see what you're saying. Huh. I'll have to try that. Anyway, what do you folks need? This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. Damn right it is. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No. I paid Sublight for it. So, it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Fair enough. The damn thing's been a headache anyway. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon. Something else on your mind?